is in Huntsville. Hey, Paul, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon, Dave. Honored to speak with you.
Better than I deserve, man. How can we help?
Hey, I am the general manager for a home services company, specifically plumbing. We've got about 30 employees, and last year we did $4.5 million. And my question today deals with my father's business. This is his business, and he purchased it about 20 years ago. I've been looking to retire from it for about 5 years now. I returned to the business 4 years ago with the intent to purchase or acquire the business by handoff. And the current plan is for me to operate the business as CEO until the time of his passing, when I would receive the ownership of the company in his will. I will assume that position here in the next 6 to 12 months. It's been slow going. I've had a lot to learn, and we're cleaning up the business operations as we go. But along the way, I've seen my father make a few choices, specifically financial choices, that I felt were more questionable, possibly unethical, if not immoral. And my question is, should I continue to operate my father's company, knowing that I don't always agree with him financially and possibly ethically? Should I try to fix the issues, pursue a buyout, or walk away completely, or some other option?
Wow. Well, we have to have a change of plans of some kind. I don't want to burn the building down right now in this conversation. But I was going to say burn the ships, but I don't either one. I don't want to do either one right now. Here's what flashed through my mind as you said that, and I'll just share it with you, and then you and I will work it out together here on the air, okay?
Okay.
Rabbi Daniel Lapin wrote a book called Thou Shalt Prosper. It's one of my favorite business and financial books. It is the 10 reasons that Jewish families have had a statistically unlikely tendency to outperform their neighbors financially at every point in history. Okay. Anytime you go back in history, you find the Jewish community has outperformed monetarily their neighbors. As an example, 3% of the American public is Jewish, 67% of the Forbes 400 is. So once I start understanding that, I want to read this book. I want to know what these 10 things that the Jewish community believes that causes them to be able to win. One of those, in one of those chapters, he says it is almost impossible. He was talking about making money is moral. If you believe, this is different from your question, okay, but I'm just setting the whole thing up. If you believe that making money is immoral or having wealth is immoral, then you will be horrible at making money because it's hard for the human brain with cognitive dissonance to do something that it believes is wrong. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
So it's going to be hard for you to run this business when you believe it's wrong. The stuff is ethically wrong. It's going to be hard for you to do that. It's hard. I mean, it's almost impossible for you to do it so well that the business prospers. And so it's just difficult. If you believe in your soul that everything we're doing is pure and noble and good, then you will fight to win. But when you're questioning and you're looking over your shoulder like, I don't think we're doing this. This is not right. And why would you be enthusiastic about going, this is not right? You're not. And your creativity gets shut down, and your your new ideas and processes and growth and all that shuts down. So you cannot exist in the deal that you've got.
Okay.
Not and have a good life. How old is your dad?
He is almost 60.
Okay. When do you think is he in the day-to-day still?
He is, yes.
Okay. When is the plan for him to not be in the day-to-day anymore?
Within the next 5 years, probably.
Okay. All right. And so he's still down there doing things. He has the power to. He's the owner, the founder. He bought it, but he's owned it for many years, and it's his. So he gets the right. He has the right to do with his business what he wants to. But the goal was for him to step aside and you be the CEO and him go home and live off the profits while you ran the business, and then you got the business at his death. That was the original goal, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
But he wasn't going to go home for about another 5 years, about 65 years old.
depends on his energy levels, but yes, it's kind of up in the air at the moment.
Okay. What I would propose is that you put a timeline on it, like 3 years from now, a hard date, and start talking to him about a hard date. I need a hard date.
Okay.
And that he go ahead and transfer the ownership to you.
Okay.
When he goes home. And you agree in return to pay him for the rest of his life X, or until you reach a number X, or whatever. So what kind of profits does this thing throwing off?
We shoot for 10%. We've been about 6 to 8% over the past few years.
And that's net of administrative and everything?
Correct, yes, sir.
Net profit?
Net.
Okay, all right. And you said it's 4.2 million, is that what you're talking? What?
4.5 million.
4.5 million. Okay. So we're dealing with, let's call it 400 grand, just for the fun of it. Okay. All right. And you're being paid before we get to that 400 grand. Is he being paid before we get to that 400 grand?
He is taking a salary, and yes, I'm being paid for that as well.
What is your salary? What is his salary?
My salary is $85,000. His salary, I believe, is $65,000.
65.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, if we value this business at $1 million, and you paid him $200,000 a year for 5 years, or 50% of the profits for 5 years, he would get $200,000 a year for 5 years.
Yes, sir.
That's you buying him out instead of you getting it at that doesn't work, because you're getting it free when he dies now.
Correct.
But what's the deal when he goes home? How much is he supposed to be paid when he goes home?
We haven't agreed to that yet. As far as I know, he's looking to just take a salary from now until time of death, basically just to keep the bills paid.
Okay, Dad, I want to give you $100,000 a year salary until death, with a 10% raise a year until death, if you go home now.
Okay.
Then you can run his business. Or he could go ahead and transfer it to you now. There's no harm in that.
Okay.
He could transfer it to you now, and the agreement is you pay him $100,000 a year with a 10% raise a year till death.
Okay.
You might do that for 40 years, but that's,
yeah,
it's possible. I mean, he could live to 100, but you might do it for 30 years. That'd be a lot of money. But yeah, that'd be more than the business is worth. So maybe I'm making a mistake. Yeah. But that was the deal y'all were going to do anyway. So, and the salary stops obviously at his death. What about your mom? Who's taking care of her?
No, she would fall under my responsibility, or he has rental property that she would then manage.
Okay, so if he died and his salary stopped, she'd be okay.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Yeah, give him a little more if he'll go ahead and go home now and transfer it now.
Okay.
And I'll pay you for life. But I need you to go ahead and transfer the ownership now, not at death. Because that keeps him from coming in and using the ownership to make unethical decisions, in spite of the fact that you're running the day-to-day and he's at home. Because he still could come back in and throw mud on the window, right?
Correct, yeah.
And that's what we're trying to prevent. I need him to go ahead and transfer it now to prevent that. And I don't know, how much discussion have you had with him about the ethics issues?
We had the main issue that we had happened about 2 years ago. And I and my wife at that time both worked in the company, and we both almost walked away from the company at that point in time.
What kept you from walking away?
The issue was caused, my wife was in HR, and she made a mistake in the billing of our benefits package, and his solution was to back charge the employees of the company. I felt that was wrong and said either she should or we should be responsible for the payment on that, the back pay on that, or the company should eat it, not charge technicians who had already signed on a benefits package and knew nothing about the issue. And he finally said, "Okay, we'll let you pay for the mistake." It was a fight to get there, but we did. So that I stayed on for the eventual business.
Mm-hmm. And she just had enough, and she went home.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. And it was her mistake. Wow, that's heavy. Okay. So let me ask you this then. That sounds like an operational thing that would not have occurred if he was at home, even if he was the owner.
Okay.
Okay, let's say he's at home 2 years from now, and that exact same thing happened. You would just make the decision. He wouldn't come back in. He wouldn't come back in and throw his weight around on that, would he?
I don't know. I would be because he would be dependent on the profits of the business. Then
no, he's not dependent on the profits of the business. We're just giving him $100,000.
Okay, already. So then, I guess in the current plan, without just giving him $100,000, but if we send him home, then yes, that would work. But the current setup would be that he would still be dependent on the profits of the business. And
I thought he was just getting a salary when he went home. You meant he wanted all the profits and a salary when he went home, and you run it for $80,000 until he dies?
Correct.
That's the current plan? That sucks. I misunderstood. I thought he was going home and taking a $65,000 salary, and you got the profits. Oh, no, I'm not running this thing for you for 30 years, and I'm a CEO and not an owner, and you're 80 and I'm 60.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing that deal. That's not good for you. It's not good for the company. No, we got to figure out I misunderstood. Okay. No, he isn't going to take the $100,000. I thought 65 to 100 was giving him a raise. I was screwing up. I goofed. Okay. Wow. Okay. Now what do we do? Hey. I don't know, because you're going to be paying him a lot more for the business than if you bought him out right now under that other scenario.
Yeah.
What the flip do we do here? Because he's thinking he's getting $500,000 a year, $465,000 a year, or $400,000 a year, or whatever. Yeah.
Now he has been good, and just watching for the past couple of years, he has been good to put a lot of that profit back into the business. Through different, capital purchases and things like that.
What would make him happy if you sent him home?
That is...
What amount of money? Seriously, based on the way you all have been talking this through, and he's been putting the money back in anyway, if he said, okay, Dad, I want to go ahead and transfer it to me, and I want you to go home, what would make him happy?
I think that $100,000, we've talked about changing his salary to $100,000 a year at one point in time. We didn't end up doing that, but we talked about that.
But that's all he's going to get in my scenario, not $400,000.
Yeah.
You think that would do it?
I'm not sure. That's a great solution. What we talked about, if I purchased it outright.
There's no reason for you to purchase it outright if you get it free at death.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want him to just give it to you free now.
Mm-hmm.
And but the deal is that he stays on payroll as long as he's alive at $100K plus some kind of cost of living raise, whether it's 5 or 10% a year, or whatever it is. I don't care. Because $100,000 20 years from now is not going to be as much as it is today, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to give him a cost of living raise. So $100,000 plus a 5% raise a year or 10% raise a year, whatever. I don't care. That's still going to be a good deal for you. If he'll do that, I think it solves all of your ethics and moral issues if we get the thing transferred to you sooner rather than later. That's what I'm looking to do.
Okay.
And if it's going to be as long as he's alive, that's untenable for you, for what the reasons I described when we first picked up the phone and started talking, because it's inconsistent with who you are. And I would not do that if I were you. And if I was coaching both of you and you were sitting both of you in front of me, I would say that's not fair to Paul. Paul does not need to wait 30 years to get this business, okay? And so I'm 63. My son is the president of our company, and I'm currently still the CEO. He and I are running it together happily. We're enjoying that. We don't have the situation that you've got, but still, I'm not going to stay in the CEO seat for forever. I mean, it's not the goal. My retirement plan will be doing this microphone stuff only, and keep working as a Ramsey personality and doing these speaking events and that kind of stuff. That's what I'm going to do in retirement. And Daniel will be running the 100% of the place. I'll still be the owner, and but the last step will be I'm going to transfer ownership prior to death or at death for free, and that's a good deal for them. So because we don't have the ethics issue laying on the table that y'all have got. I think you got to transfer it to you sooner, and so let's try that. That's the best way to go. Wow, I missed that. Okay, oh well, we'll get there. Muddle through. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast.